doing is good morning, but I couldn't get all set there. But great to have you here today. Appreciate you guys taking the time to come out on a Monday. Check out the Panthers. Excited really to get this season underway. It's been a long time. Our kids have worked their tail off since really January, and a ton of work goes into it. I think they're ready to hit a different color jersey. We've had a great fall camp. I think it's probably one of the healthiest fall camps we've been involved in. You got to continue to keep that going all the time. We try to be smarter as coaches and try to get them to the game. I think that happens when you have a little bit older football team, which I think we do with the 19 seniors. That you guys all had a chance to meet at senior day, or the senior kickoff lunch the other day. Albany. It's a good football team. I know you guys won't ask many Albany questions, so I'm going to shoot you with them early. 4-7 football team that beat Villanova last year, which is a good football team as we know. And then they shut out New Hampshire, who perennially is a CAA playoff team, and that's a playoff caliber team. You kind of talk about New Hampshire in the same terms you talk about Youngstown. Great 1AA football team. Obviously, Greg Cattuso is a great football coach. Obviously, with his lineage and being around great, Coach Wanstatt, he's a darn good coach. They got 3 Pitt guys on that staff, so they'll come ready to go. With Nate Bynum and Jim Sweeney and Jared Holley, they'll come into Heinz Field ready to go. They got probably their strength is in their O-line, D-line. I think in any good football team, you're going to have a strong front group there. I think we talk about it all the time, but their entire offensive line is returning. Their D-line's got everybody returning. They got 3 seniors on that group. I think a total of 8 seniors in their starting lineups. I think 4 on offense and 4 on defense. So, Cattuso being a defensive guy, I think they're a top 10 total defense team. I think number 9 in the country last year. So they play good defense. So our offensive work will be right there in front of them. I think they've gotten good work in camp as far as going against our defense. So it's going to be a heck of a ball game. Our guys will be ready to come play. So that I'll leave it open for questions. I know you guys have a ton of them.
What do you know about their quarterback?
You know what? Great question, Jared. Vincent, or Vinny Testaverde, as I like to refer to him. I don't know if they call him Vinny or there's only one Vinny, but he's a good quarterback. We've watched Texas Tech versus Texas back in 2014 when he's played 32. He got in the game there and looks composed. As a true freshman, I believe, or redshirt freshman, 14, looks composed throwing the football. Really accurate quarterback. Obviously, after I went to Miami for a couple of years and has landed at Albany. Again, played with some great quarterbacks at Texas Tech, behind some great quarterbacks at Texas Tech, and also at Miami. So just trying to find a home for him, and I think they got a quarterback that can hurt you throwing the ball, and I'm sure being in a football family, he can make the checks, and I'm sure Dad's taught him well in his youth. So good player. Not as tall as his dad, very mobile, and maybe not like his dad, and good quarterback. So we'll find out Saturday.
How do you feel about your quarterback play? Obviously you're more confident in it than you were probably toward the end of last season, but compared to how you felt about it, first Monday press conference this time last year.
Last year, press conference, you had high hopes. I think, you thought you had a quarterback in Max Brown, which I still think we did, that had potential to be really good. You had a guy that had been out of it for a while, hadn't played a football game for over a year. So I think that always played into the whole thing. And so I feel totally different with Kenny Pickett being with what he did at the end of the year last year, as you guys all know, and then with what he's done during spring ball. It's like this. It's consistent. You're going to see a consistent Kenny Pickett doing little things right, not hurting you as a quarterback, protecting the football. So it's totally different because you got a guy that's got experience. It's not going to be much rust there. Although he's still a freshman, I should say he should be a redshirt freshman, but he's still a young guy that hasn't played more than 1 game as far as starting. And so there's still going to be hiccups as far as I believe. I know everybody thinks he's going to go out there and be Kenny perfect. That'd be in a perfect world, but nobody's perfect, and I don't want to, you know, make Kenny tight like that where he's got to play perfect. He's still a baby. So
You're not worried about putting too much pressure on his shoulders?
I know he likes pressure, but I still don't want to make him feel like he's got to be a perfect guy. He's not perfect, you know, and neither am I. So I just don't want him to think he has to go out and play a perfect game. He won't play a perfect game. No quarterback does.
Pat, when you're scheduling these games, what are you looking for when you go about scheduling an FCS opponent, and how do you feel like Albany kind of checks those boxes?
You know what? I mean, they got 14 PA kids, I think, on the roster. I got to be honest with you. I don't think I scheduled it. It might have been previous. I don't remember. You know, day by day. You know, a lot of those games get kind of thrown at you, and you kind of say yes or no. And you know, then I go back to my office and bury myself into some work there. You know, there's only so many teams available. But you know what? When you look at all the Pitt connections they have, I think it ends up being a pretty colorful look. I mean, when you look at, you know, former Dave Wanstead, staff member, coming back to Heinz Field and having Pittmen on that staff, I think it's a neat story. They got a good football team, and you know, we could go to Louisiana and play some CAA team down there, or play one that's not too far away. I think, you know, just keeping it in the Northeast region is a positive thing.
How far along are you defensively getting it to where you want it? It's obviously been a problem.
We'll find out September 1st, I guess, right? I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's, you know, we got a new coordinator who's calling a game for his first time in maybe 14 years or whatever it's been. He's very intelligent, Randy Bates. You know, very detailed in game planning. And then when you look at the personnel, we've got personnel. You know, we got some guys, but then you got to go out and show it on game day. It doesn't matter. You can have all the P you want as far as potential, but we got to go out and play like, you know, like we're a good defense. And that's, you know, you can tell at the end of the year. It's hard. I mean, maybe we can tell after game one that, okay, they look pretty good, but then we're going to find out the next week, and then we'll find out the next week, and ultimately you're measured by what you do in a 12-game season.
Do you feel like you have some stuff in place in terms of their understanding or their physical readiness, that kind of thing?
Yeah, you know, physical readiness, you know, no question about it. Durability, no question about it. And then the intelligence part of it, that, you know, I think they got a good understanding of what we're doing. But like anything, you walk out there and an offense gives you a scheme, offense gives you a formation or backfield set or something you haven't seen. How well can they, number one, communicate on the field? It all comes down to communication, because we, you know, you can have one smart guy like Quentin Virginis in the middle, but if we don't all communicate together, you're going to have issues. And we see that in practice every day, and it's something we continue to harp on, is communication. I've never been through a perfect defense communication-wise, so we're always going to have a mistake here and there. It's going to happen. That's why you know, offenses do what they do, whether it's a shift, a motion we haven't seen. The defensively, they're as prepared as they're going to be, you know, going into this opener. I feel good with, you know, what we do offensively, preparing. It's not like, you know, we're running a wing team offense. I mean, we run a lot of multiple sets as far as personnel goes. We run a ton of formations. I think we ran 38 formations in our last scrimmage, not this past one, but 38 different formations. That's not including a backfield sets or shifts or motions. So we're very multiple what we do, which, again, if I'm a defense coordinator, that's what I want. I want somebody to give me something different every day, not line up in one formation. So I think, you know, formationally, we'll be prepared for anything they give us.
I noticed a lot of wars on your depth chart. I also noticed one at cornerback. Dane started 12 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about Motley.
You know, I think I've told you since the beginning. You know, Motley's had he's had a great camp. He really has, and you know, there's competition out there. And there's some more guys. I mean, that could have gone oars really maybe down the line there. So, you know, we'll see what it looks like. It comes down to who's playing well. If Felipe's playing well, we're gonna roll with him. You know, it's who's really healthy, who's feeling good, who doesn't have a tight this or tight that, whatever it may be. So we're happy with Felipe is, and like I told you, you know, coming out of camp, you know, we need gamers. We don't need just practice players. But I do say this: you know, you play like you practice, and you practice like you play. So if Felipe does what he did in practice for the last 20 practices, we expect a great year. And you know, we talk about our seniors all the time. They got to have the best year they ever had. If you want to win a championship, those guys that sit in those front rows in our team meeting have got to play well.
Do you have any idea when Casey or Mac might get his name on that sheet?
Is he missing from that sheet?
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
see it.
here. Put his name on that sheet.
All right, thanks, Pat.
That's probably just a typo.
Which
Yeah, it's a
which
problem you
one?
have when you got your, when your depth is good, You know, you can put him at the X. I don't, actually, you don't even know, it says receiver, 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 so you don't even know, but he'll be at the X. You know, he's got the ability to play in the slot, you gotta build, I mean, here's the thing about Taysom here, he can play in the slot, he can play the boundary guy, which is where Kenny likes him, and he can play in the field, he can move all over the place intelligent-wise, so, you know, put Mac on the depth chart.
As a starter?
I just said put him on there, we'll see. Come on,
Because
Jerry.
some guys are in bold there, that's why I was
Some guys are in bold,
Sure.
I don't read it.
3 guys are in bold.
You can see that.
If I take my glasses off.
Pat, does the defense have to have a set personality? I mean, do you want it to have a certain type of flavor? I know you want to be ready for anything formationally, but in terms of an attitude, I mean, anything like that? I mean, is
Well,
Randy?
hopefully they all got an attitude.
I mean, is Randy? How important is Randy's sort of influence on that?
I think it's huge. I think anytime you have, you know, your coordinator is passionate and has energy, then it's gonna play a part. Your kid's gonna play like your coordinator, I think. So I think that'll be something you'll see Saturday, whether they play with a little different swag and energy. You know, you're hoping the lights turn on, and at 3:30, that's what you see. You gotta be ready to go.
What was it about this season, as opposed to your previous seasons here, that let you feel comfortable talking about the championship game?
You know, we've talked about it every time in here, and, you know, maybe it's that 1-8 at the end of the 2-0, I don't know what it is, but, you know, just, you know, it's these seniors, it's the way they talk, it's the way they believe. You know, if they're talking it, you know, freely, and if they've said it, put it this way, when I first got here, these guys just wanted to win 6 or more games, okay? That was the goal. We had to change, you know, kind of how we thought. We talked about, you know, goal setting, doing big things, dreaming big. And when I first got here, I was just trying to get them to say ACC, forget the championship part at the end. But our kids talk in those terms now, which is, you know, I think for every football team, you should have that goal. But we had to change a lot of mindsets. When I first got here, people just kind of thought like 6 or more games, that's a great season. And, you know, we try to, grade that into our kids' heads, that that's just, you know, it's just average or below average. So, you know, you feel good because they believe. I'm not gonna go out and take a snap, I'm not gonna make a tackle, not gonna make a catch, but these guys here, if they believe it, and I think we have the talent, I think we got the mindset, I think we got the chemistry to win a championship. Again, is that gonna happen? We'll find out.
In your all's past couple seasons, openers, Pat, the offense, I guess, it's been fairly, I guess, what do you call it, vanilla, maybe. Try not to give too much away, for the Penn State game. Are you thinking of employing something similar this year, or how similar do you think it'll be to what we've seen the past couple of years?
I don't know, we'll find out. I mean, we're in the process of game planning right now, but, you know, this is a good football team. You know, we're not holding anything back, so if you're asking that, you know, at times we hold stuff back. I think most people know what we do, so we're gonna go out and do it and find out how well we execute the offense. I mean, you know, we've got some new wrinkles that you may not have seen before last year. You may not see those this year, but you'll certainly see them as we move on.
Now, when you talk about changing that mindset, how much does wins against Clemson and Miami do that for the kids, and how much when you see a schedule that people call one of the toughest in the country, maybe not factor in when you've had those victories?
Well, I mean, our kids have played big and played good in big games, so I think, you know, obviously those wins help you. You know, when you end with a win, it made the offseason a little bit more, I guess, approachable for our kids, approachable for our coaches. But I think it helps you. I think when you got the ability to win a big game, and you got the ability to win every game, period. If you can beat a Miami, you can beat a Clemson, why shouldn't you win an ACC championship? And it's pretty simple. I think our kids understand that, and that probably plays in a part why, you know, they talk like they do.
Do you need to be, you were talking about Kenny not needing to be perfect, you're not perfect, but does this team need to be perfect to get to where you want to get in terms of records?
Only if the other guys play perfect, okay, which probably won't happen. So if the other guys play perfect, then, you know, it's not gonna be easy, but, you know, that's our job to make sure they don't, and it's our job as coaches to make sure we don't mess it up either.
Pat, you guys are replacing a pretty accomplished return man. I mean, you've got guys listed here, but are we gonna see sort of a rotation through, a lot of guys get chances in the return game?
You know what, Raphael Lopes has been really, you know, Rojo, it's really been, you know, fantastic as far as a reliable punt returner. Let's start there. You know, with reliability goes, we have possession of the ball. I think when you think about punt return and returning punts, the number one thing is that we have possession of the football after the end of that play. And it starts with that, and we can have maybe an electric guy back there, but, Shockey's been back there, Paris Ford's been back there. We may, get some different looks, it depends, but I just know right now, I think, I don't know if there's any oars on there or not, Jerry.
No. Oh, yeah, no.
Wait to answer that one. That's got every oar examined. But, we know we've got faith and trust in what that guy's gonna do in game time. So we'll see what the other guys do when they get up there, but, the return game's important. But I also would say this, maturity, have a lot of guys that can play special teams, because everybody thinks it's a one-man show back there at the return game. And we can go over tape of kick returns for touchdowns and punt returns for touchdowns. It's hard to do it all by yourself. And if anybody thinks that Quadri did it all by himself, is crazy. He's a great returner, but he's got help out of 10 other guys that are doing their job, and Coach Powell does a great job designing and organizing those return games, and we'll continue to do a good job. And I think we're going to forget the return guy. Let's talk about those other critical 10 guys on the field, and what are those guys doing? I think those guys are better right now, and that's so much more important than the return guy, to be honest with you.
How's Paris Ford progressing on defense?
Paris was going like this. He really was, and is, I should say. Paris is doing a nice job. He's an energetic guy. I can't wait to watch him on the field, and he's energetic. He plays with emotion, and I think the game is a game of emotion. I just got to make sure we keep him under control. He's wild. I love that part of him.
I know you're as curious as we are, probably more to see what this team does, like you said, when the lights come on. But is there one guy or a group of guys, position of guys that you're sort of most curious to see how are they going to fare now in week 1 against another team?
Not really. I mean, I can't say there's one. I mean, you're looking forward to seeing the 22 guys out there, the 10 positional groups play. If I'm just, fired up to see one group, then we probably got problems at the other groups. I mean, they're so similar. I think, I think I'm excited to see everybody go out there and play, and, I think that's where it starts.
Kenny Pickett embracing the pressure. When you make a statement like wanting to win an ACC championship and embracing the mentality and being bold about that, does it put pressure on you as well? I mean, do you embrace that pressure?
I don't know if it puts any more pressure on. We're going to take it week by week by week, and it's a one-game season. And there's pressure whether you want to be an ACC champion or you want to win 6 games. Whatever your goals are, there's pressure to do that. I think when you got one of the toughest schedules in the country, and you got a football team that wants to and has a desire to win a championship, there is no pressure because they believe they're there and they have the ability to do that. So, is it stress? Is it pressure? Our guys are ready to play ball.
Okay, any other questions? Alan?
You put Kellen McAlone on scholarship over the weekend. Can you tell us about what that was like and why you picked him?
Yeah, I'm assuming you saw some of the stuff on Twitter, and Kellen is an unbelievable kid. Really kind of the setup was it, set up for that whole thing, which I don't know if it showed, on that video, was he does so much in the community service. Forget what kind of football player he is. He's such a volunteer in this community. We talk about making an impact in the city of Pittsburgh, making an impact on campus, putting a smile on people's faces. That's something he does. And every day when we finish practice, that guy's kneeling right there. I can put an X and save a spot for Kellen because I know he's going to be. When I blow that last horn, man, he's coming up. He's right there. So he's done so much community service wise. The guy works his tail off in anything he does on the football field. So he deserved that scholarship. It started with what he did on the field. We're not going to give it because he does a great job in community service. We just kind of set up giving it to him that way. Like I just said, hey, someone wants to volunteer, I need one guy. I have one, and he's sitting right there like he always is. And he said, Coach, I'll do it. And that's kind of how we set up because I knew he'd volunteer like he always does. The guy will do anything. He'll come in here and mop these floors if he wanted to. That's the most impressive thing. And I thought maybe there'd be a little dip in maybe his swagger after Jimmy Madura got one, and you guys kind of blow it because you guys sit there and count scholarships. I don't know if it's Jerry counting scholarships. Maybe he's thinking maybe there's one more left. Maybe there's one more left. You kind of like him to not to know if there's any left. But you thought maybe you'd see a dip in his performance in practice, but all you saw is a rise. And that guy's, I watched him especially to see how he's going to react to that. He turned it up even higher, which is Kellen McAlone.
That is Jeff George Jr. joining your team, your
He is. We introduced him last night. He's on the football team. We're happy to have Jeff. We're happy to have his family involved in the program. We're still waiting to find out whether he's eligible or not. I think there was some word out there saying he was eligible. You know, he spent the last 20 practices in Ann Arbor, so he's really a transfer. So I don't know what's going to happen there. So he's ineligible right now, and so we'll wait to find out, you know, what that status is for him. But you know, just to give you some background on that, he I visited in the spring and was trying to decide between, you know, after he left Illinois as a grad transfer, between Michigan and Pitt, and you know, I just feel like he got there and felt like, you know, maybe he made a mistake and decided to come here.
Okay. Are you keeping the
Thank you
goatee?
I don't know. Let me know
Thank
what
you
it's-
all very much. Thank you.